You gotta stop comparing yourself. It's the worst thing you can do, and I'm saying that as someone who's learning that from myself now. So many things that I've failed to do or stopped myself from doing have been a result of me feeling like I wasn't as good as other people. I wasn't good enough to do something relative to people I looked up to, and that can be such a hindrance, but also such an excuse in a way to stop yourself from actually progressing and moving forward, right? Like for me, anyone that you look up to, anyone that's inspiring to you started somewhere. They started with nothing. If you take a musician, right, like you have to start without any ability and you learn to play an instrument. Like take a guitarist who's amazing and can play any song. It starts with them picking up a guitar and learning the basic chords, and then from the chords learning different keys, and then chord progressions, then modulations. Then you go from there and you kind of progress and progress one step at a time. But it is a thing that takes time and it is a journey. And if they never picked up the guitar, they wouldn't be able to get to where they are in the first place now, which is being able to play any song. And sometimes I think you can use your ability or your comparisons to how far you are as an excuse to stop yourself from actually doing things. And I used to think, oh, like I'd love to do this, but then I think, oh, like I can't even do this. I can barely even play 3 chords, for example. So like, how am I ever going to be able to play a whole song? And it can also be demotivating if you start something and you put in a few hours and you notice where you are and you realize how long it's going to take to get to somewhere. You can think, well, I'm never going to be as good as this person, but that person also would have started somewhere and had difficulties and made mistakes and not been able to play as great as they could now. But in my mind, I think comparison also in this day and age is so hard to avoid, given social media and how prevalent it is. I think we're all constantly being exposed to people who are successful and who are at the apex of their career and are at the top of their game and are thought leaders or kind of influencers in their spaces. And so you see someone with 100k followers, 200k, 500k, a million followers, and you think, I've got 1,000, I've got 500, like I'm never going to be able to get to that stage and be able to be that good. And yes, that's true. If you stop and you don't start, you probably will never get there because you haven't started. And I found that really hard. I think even like now on my content journey, and you can see I haven't got that many followers on here on any of my platforms, but I'm trying to stop comparing myself and just doing what I enjoy and doing what I like and making things that feel authentic to me. And then I'm just going to keep doing that and see what happens. And one thing someone said to me was that, you know, if you're starting out as a content creator, you can't compare yourself to someone that has 1 million followers and has an editor and has a team and has someone that films them. Like, you're never gonna be able to compete with that level of content at the start of your journey. You have to kind of start somewhere. And if it's just you with a cheaper camera and you're filming on your own and you're filming your house and you're not confident yet going out on the streets yet, of course you can't make that kind of content. But all you can do, and this is why I think it's good to not compare, is focus on doing the best with what you can do with what you have. So if you have a laptop camera, film on your laptop camera. If you have a camera that I have, and you film with your camera, and you start working on what you have and building foundations and getting better, but you have to start somewhere. But if you compare yourself, for example, with me, sometimes I make videos and I think, oh, this is a good video, and then I'll go on Instagram and see someone who has flying captions and music and sound design and, you know, text on the screen, and they've got like, they're filming in the street and there's slow motion, there's like a drone. I think, oh, like there's no point in me putting this video out because it's so bad compared to the videos that are trending. And that is true sometimes. I think you see videos that go viral and that are trending, or what's being put out by top creators, and they have so much money, so much time, and it's their full-time job that you kind of, I often feel like, oh, I can't ever compare or even imagine or dream about being as good as that, so I'm just not gonna, I don't want to bother. But I've had this with other things. I think even sometimes, you know, at school, you know, we all have different abilities, and I remember sport was never my strong suit. I think I was good at some sports, but I wasn't good at others, and that I always would compare myself and then just not want to try. I just wouldn't try at football because I knew I was bad, and that meant that I never actually improved and I never learned. And my teachers would try and say, come on, like you need to put in effort, and I would do the bare minimum, and I never really paid attention. Then now as an adult, all my friends can play football to a reasonable level, right? They can go out and kick a ball in a park, and I cannot play at all because I just never tried, because I was comparing myself when I was 12. And if I had just let that fear go and actually put in the effort, there's no reason why I couldn't have got to the same level of ability and been able to play now. So I think that's the thing that always reminds me. And I think even, you know, with stuff at school, like things I was interested in, I always want to do stuff, and then I'd be like, well, I want to be as successful as this person, and I think, oh, I can never make it because I'm black, or I'm not talented in that way, I don't have this ability, or I don't have that ability, or this might get in the way. And I started to use comparison as a tool to make excuses. And I'm at the stage now, I'm 28, I'm 29, I'm 28, and I'm turning 30 next year, and I kind of realized that I have to stop comparing myself to other people, because right now where I am is it's where I am, and whether I compare or not, I can't really change that. But what I can do is focus on myself, my goals, where I want to be and how I can get there. And that is the thing. I think this year I'm just going to try, and I encourage you to do the same, is just forget about other people. Like if you have 0 followers, doesn't matter, someone else will have 0 followers. If you're making content and you have 100 followers, there'll be other followers with 100 followers too making content. And I think it's good to benchmark yourself against people that are appropriate and are in the same level as you. So like now, even with my new Instagram, I'm looking at people that have a similar number of followers to me and that get similar number of views, and understanding what they're doing and what works for someone at my level. And then it feels better to see that actually I'm doing well for what I have, rather than comparing myself to these unattainable and unachievable goals. And I think that's, even with like health, I've been trying to focus on getting on a better journey and being healthy and kind of putting myself in a good space and working towards certain goals. But then I think even that, you go on Instagram, you go into the shop and you see Men's Health, and you see people and they have this amazing body and they've got these like rock hard abs and these arms that are like the size of my head, and I think, oh god, like I've got my love handles and a bit of podge around here, and I'm dieting and I'm running and it's still not going down, and I'm so far away from that. So like, I can't be bothered to go to the gym today because I'm never going to make it to that stage. I'm just going to eat what I want, and I use the comparison can make me then feel worse about myself than I did before, and eventually I just stopped doing anything. And so really for me, I kind of realized that I have to try and stop comparing myself, because it's never going to do me any good. I think it's good to have motivations and inspirations and benchmarkers, but I think the continuous comparing of yourself to someone it's not good. It's negative, and it always, for me at least, puts me in a negative space. I think it's better to be focused on what you want to achieve, and setting yourself your own goals. Like, with what I have, I can do this, and I know I can do that well, so I'm going to focus on doing that and not worry about the noise and like what people are saying and what, and I think that's the other thing, is comparing yourself again. I think a lot of that comes down to, what will people say? Because if this person's doing it and it's good, but mine's not that good, then my friends might think I'm bad, or my content's crap, or whatever. And then again, that negative voice comes, like, it's weird for you to try, and like, people are going to think you're a loser and people are going to think you're a freak. But one thing I always say to myself is that people laugh and judge until you make it, then once you make it, they care and they adore you and they want to be involved with you, they want to congratulate you and say, oh, I knew him. And so I think I've always used that, and still do to this day, as a motivation. Like, I don't care what people say, what people think. I'm going to keep doing what I can do for myself and focus on my own goals, my own priorities. I know where I want to be when I'm 35, when I'm 40, when I'm 50. And what people think, or where I am now relative to other people where they are now, is not important. For me, it's like where I am now versus someone I'm inspired by is not important. All that matters to me is getting to where I want to get to as soon as I can. And then when I'm at that point and I'm successful and I'm happy with where I am, there are people that be worse than me and people that be better than me. And so it's all kind of a cycle, and it's all relative. And so my thing this year is just, and I really implore you to do the same as well, is just try and compare yourself less, and just try and be happy with what you have. I think it even comes down to like internal happiness in terms of money. And sometimes you can think, oh, my friends have all this money, they have this great career, and I don't. And then they'll have their own problems. And I think sometimes we can compare ourselves with our friends and be like, I wish I had achieved that, and I wish I had this, and wish I had a job that allowed me to travel, or I wish I had a partner, or whatever. And it's good to know what you want, but I think it should be an internal thing that comes from yourself, rather than a driver that comes from external things that make you feel bad. And so again, with money, like, you might not have money now, but then you might in the future, and your friend might lose their job, and maybe you can't buy a house now, but eventually you will. And sometimes, things will happen to you when they're meant to happen, when it's right for your timeline and your journey. Everyone's lives are so different now and so varied, so we can really only focus on ourselves and where we're at. And I think that helps you to, foster gratitude and appreciate what you have, and just be like, well, this is what I have, this is who I am, this is what I'm doing, and I'm happy with that. And as long as you're trying your best, that can give you a sense of peace and a sense of gratitude. And then the rest kind of comes separately. So I think, stop comparing yourself, stop beating yourself up, stop making yourself feel insignificant, because it isn't healthy and it doesn't do any good. And the better you can be towards yourself and supporting yourself and lifting yourself up and encouraging yourself, the more you'll achieve, the further you'll get, and the better you'll feel. Thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, please do hit subscribe. My name is Timmy Ario. I've run the channel for a while. I'm on and off, but I'm definitely back again. And I have a lot of ideas. I have a lot of things I want to share. I used to run a podcast, and I'm kind of in the middle of setting that up again. But right now, I have lots of things I want to talk about, and I want to share more long form. I have a TikTok, which is Timmy Ario, and I have an Instagram, which is Timmy Ario as well. But I also want to sit down and talk about things in these kind of short 5-minute bursts, as and when they come to me, when I'm inspired to talk. So if you like these kind of mini diary entries, or if so to speak, and topics and commentaries on things and my kind of own opinions on certain things in life, then please do subscribe. Let me know what you think and how you guys are feeling about motivation and success and stress and how it kind of gets to you. And if you compare yourself, how do you stop yourself from doing that? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you on the next video. Thank you for watching.